Have you ever, even after years maybe of learning English, found yourself reading and just hitting a wall, you know?
Mhm.
Like pausing every few words or maybe translating in your head or just feeling, I don't know, unsure about the rhythm?
Yeah, that's a really common thing. A lot of learners run into that, even quite advanced ones.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into this. We want to uncover some simple but actually really powerful techniques to help you read English, more smoothly with less stopping.
That's right. And we've looked closely at a guide that's designed specifically for learners facing this exact challenge.
Yeah.
Our goal here is really to pull out the most effective strategies, maybe some surprising insights too, give you a clear path forward so you can read with, well, more confidence and just keep going. We'll show you the what, but also, crucially, the why, like why these things actually work for your brain.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We've all been there, right? Staring at a page, feeling that sort of mental grind. Why does that happen? What are these like hidden reasons that make us hit the brakes so often when we're reading English?
Well, it's usually not just one single thing.
Yeah.
It's often a mix of factors working together.
Okay.
A big one is vocabulary, but maybe not in the way you think. It's
Yeah.
not always about completely not knowing a word.
Ah,
You might recognize words like, say, insightful or obligation if you hear them right.
right.
But if you don't actively pull up their meaning in that context while reading,
It slows you down.
exactly, that passive recognition turns into a little speed bump. It's that slight delay in accessing the meaning rather than complete ignorance that often makes you pause.
Interesting. So it's less like a total blank and more like a momentary buffering, a little processing lag that just breaks the flow.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
That buffering is key. Another really common habit is the internal translation thing.
Oh, yeah.
Reading an English sentence, then immediately, almost automatically, converting it back to your native language in your head.
Right.
That process just creates this extra cognitive step, a bottleneck, really.
Yeah.
You're basically reading everything twice, and it totally kills any natural flow you might have had.
And I always kind of wonder, could fear be part of it too? Like, especially if you're reading out loud, does that make people pause?
Oh, absolutely. That fear of making mistakes, maybe mispronouncing something,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a huge psychological block.
Mm-hmm.
It causes real hesitation. Even if you actually know the words deep down, if you lack that core confidence, you start second guessing
And you pause.
and you pause. Yeah. And one last thing, it sounds subtle, but it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Not really getting how punctuation works to guide the rhythm.
Like commas and periods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Commas, periods, question marks. They're like the musical notation for the sentence.
Yeah.
If you don't feel that rhythm they provide, you end up stopping awkwardly instead of moving smoothly.
Okay, so if we look at all that, the vocabulary lag, the translation habit, the fear, the punctuation confusion, the common thread really seems to be about building, well, confidence, right? And
Yep.
getting that flow.
Hmm.
Like, think about reading a sentence. The boy was walking through the forest when he heard a strange noise. Someone nervous might read it like, the boy was walking.
Yeah, word by word.
Right. It's painful, but with confidence, it just flows. The boy was walking through the forest when he heard a strange noise. It's like night and day.
It's a totally different experience. And that confident rhythmic reading, it just highlights how building that inner confidence is absolutely fundamental. It's the foundation for flow.
Yeah.
Without it, even if you know all the techniques, it can still feel a bit mechanical or forced.
Right. But okay, you say confidence is key, but if someone always feels hesitant, just saying be confident isn't very helpful, is it? It's like telling someone just be taller.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some real practical first steps, maybe things people wouldn't expect that can actually start to build that confidence when you're looking at English text?
Okay, good question. It really starts with actionable steps,
Yeah.
sometimes surprisingly small ones. First, think micro. Just commit to reading, say, 2 or 3 sentences out loud every day. Seriously, that small.
Just 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The point isn't volume at first, it's consistency. It's about breaking that initial resistance, that feeling of, I have to read.
Makes sense.
Second, and this is crucial, let go of perfection. Mistakes are not failures. They're just data.
Data.
Yeah, data points showing you where you need a bit more practice. They prove you're actually trying, engaging with the language. And third, a really powerful tip, record yourself reading.
Oh, okay. That sounds scary.
It can feel a bit weird at first, but don't listen back to criticize yourself harshly. Listen back like you're your own coach. You start to notice small improvements, track your progress, Pinpoint specific sounds or rhythms to work on. That self-awareness builds confidence like crazy.
I like that, being your own coach. Okay, so those small steps build the confidence foundation. But even then, we all have these ingrained habits, right? Things that trip us up without us realizing. What are some of the most common reading mistakes you see? And more importantly, how can we actually fix them? Like right now.
Yeah, those habits can be persistent. The biggest one is probably reading word by word. We keep coming back to it because it's so common.
Right.
It just fragments everything. The fix. Actively train yourself to see words in groups, in chunks. We'll talk more about how to do that soon.
Right, chunking. Got it. What else?
Over-pausing at commas. Remember, a comma is usually just a short breath, a little pause to link related ideas, not a full stop like a period.
Right, keep the momentum.
Exactly. Then there's skipping words. Sometimes people do this subconsciously, maybe to read faster, but missing even small words articles, prepositions can completely change the meaning. You build the wrong picture in your head.
Yeah, you lose the detail.
You do. And conversely, reading too fast can be just as bad. Rushing often means your comprehension tanks because your brain just doesn't have time to process properly.
So slow down to speed up in a way.
Kinda, yeah. Find a sustainable pace. And finally, a simple mechanical fix. Not using a pointer, like your finger or a pen.
Really? Does that help?
It really does. It helps guide your eyes smoothly across the line, stops them from jumping around randomly, and keeps you focused. Simple, but effective.
Okay, that makes sense. We've covered the pitfalls, the mindset shift towards confidence. Now, let's get into the really interesting stuff. The how.
Right, the tools.
Yeah, the specific techniques. Moving from knowing the problem to actually having the methods to, like, transform how you read. What are some of these key techniques for better flow?
Okay, well, let's start with your eyes themselves. It's fascinating how they work when you read.
Okay.
They don't just glide smoothly. They make tiny, super fast jumps and then pause very briefly. These are called saccades.
Saccades.
Yeah. That jump pause movement is how your brain efficiently takes in text, focusing on a word or a small group of words for just a fraction of a second.
So trying to read every single word individually is unnatural.
It's actually fighting your brain's natural, efficient process. The goal isn't to stop the jumps. It's to train your eyes to make slightly longer jumps, grabbing more words in each brief pause.
How do you do that?
You can consciously practice using your peripheral vision more. Focus, say, on the middle word of a short phrase, but try to see the words on either side of it at the same time.
Okay.
Also, really discipline yourself not to go back and reread unless you're truly lost. Trust the process. And like we just said, use that pointer finger or pen to keep your eyes moving forward smoothly.
So training for longer saccades, it's not just about speed, it's about training your brain to process meaning in bigger units, like upgrading your mental software.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about optimizing how you take in and process information.
Yeah.
And that leads perfectly into the next big technique, chunking.
Ah, yes, chunking again.
Mastering the art of chunking. Think about eating rice. Reading word by word is like trying to eat one single grain at a time.
It's tedious.
Incredibly tedious.
Yeah.
And inefficient. Chunking is like using a spoon. You get a meaningful mouthful.
Right.
So instead of reading, "The boy was walking," you train your brain to see and process natural phrase units. The boy was walking through the forest.
Okay, so you group the words that naturally belong together.
Exactly. Your brain grasps the meaning of the whole phrase at once. It makes your reading faster, smoother, and honestly, comprehension improves too. It just takes practice for it to become automatic.
It sounds like finding a rhythm, almost like music has a beat. Is that something you can practice too?
Oh, absolutely. English has its own natural rhythm, its own music, based on stressed and unstressed syllables.
How do you develop an ear for that?
Immerse yourself. Listen to audiobooks, listen to native speakers in podcasts or videos, pay attention to their intonation, where they pause, how they stress words.
Okay, listen more.
And then this is read along with the audio. Try to mimic their rhythm and pace. Shadowing, which we'll get to.
Ah.
Also, reading poetry or even song lyrics aloud can be great practice because rhythm is built right in. And here's a neat tip. Try putting some emotion into your reading. Yeah. When you connect emotionally with what you're reading, your natural rhythm tends to emerge more easily. It sounds more authentic, more confident.
That makes sense. But reading aloud brings up breath control, doesn't it? I know I sometimes run out of breath mid-sentence and then pause awkwardly.
Very common issue. It totally breaks that rhythm you're trying to build.
Yeah, so how do you manage that?
Simple awareness, mostly. First, take a decent, calm breath before you start reading a sentence or a paragraph. Don't start on empty.
Okay.
Then, learn to use punctuation as your breathing cues. Take a quick, natural breath at a comma, maybe a slightly fuller breath at a period or paragraph break.
Use the punctuation.
Exactly.
Hmm?
And practice modulating your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly up for questions, maybe softer for calmer bits, pausing deliberately for emphasis sometimes. It makes your reading sound less monotonous and helps manage your breath naturally.
Okay. And you mentioned reading aloud. I've heard people say it's almost like a fast track to improving. Is there truth to that?
Huge truth. It's incredibly powerful. There's this great anecdote about a learner, Shreya from Kolkata.
Yeah.
She apparently saw a really dramatic jump in her fluency in just 30 days. And her main change, reading aloud for just 10 minutes every single day.
Wow. 10 minutes a day for that result.
Yeah. The benefits stack up. It obviously helps your pronunciation because you're physically making the sounds. It strengthens memory and comprehension because you're engaging hearing and speaking. And maybe the biggest thing, it builds massive confidence for actual speaking. It's such an underrated tool.
That's really encouraging, especially if speaking feels intimidating. And this all links back to what you said about punctuation being our guide, right? It's not just grammar, it's navigation.
Use your GPS for reading. Punctuation gives you those vital cues for sounding natural and expressive.
It's a quick recap. Comma.
Short breath. Keeps things moving.
Period.
Full stop. End of thought. Time for a proper breath.
Question mark.
Upward inflection, usually. Shows you're asking something.
Exclamation mark.
Emotion. Excitement, surprise, whatever fits. Reading with punctuation makes you sound less like a robot and more like a person. Precisely. It guides you and your listener effortlessly through the text.
Okay, one last technique. This one sounds intriguing. Shadow reading. You mentioned it. What exactly is that? Sounds like a spy movie technique.
It does sound cool, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
actually quite straightforward, but very effective.
Okay.
You basically listen to a native English speaker reading something, could be an audiobook, a podcast clip, a YouTube video, anything with clear audio.
Right.
And you read the same text aloud at the same time, trying to stay right with them, like their shadow.
So you're literally talking over them, trying to match them.
Exactly. You're trying to match their pronunciation, their speed, their rhythm, their pauses, their intonation, everything, as closely as you possibly can.
Why does that work so well?
Because it forces you to keep up, improving your speed naturally. You're getting immediate auditory feedback and mimicking a fluent model. Helps tune your ear, improves pronunciation, builds rhythm, and boosts confidence because you're kind of carried along by the speaker. No time to hesitate.
That sounds like a fantastic exercise. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Confidence, habits, eye training, chunking, rhythm, breath, reading aloud, punctuation, shadow reading. Wow. If someone's listening now and thinking, okay, where do I start tomorrow? What does this boil down to in terms of daily habits? What can you actually do consistently?
Great question. To make this real, aim for these daily practices. 1, read aloud, 5 to 10 minutes every day. Make it happen.
Okay, non-negotiable.
2, use that finger or pen as a guide when you read. Simple, but it works. Try it.
Got it.
Free, record yourself sometimes. Listen back, be your own coach. Notice the progress.
Build that self-awareness.
4, actively practice chunking, seeing phrases, not just words, and try some shadow reading when you can. Even a few minutes helps. And maybe the most important one for keeping it going, read stuff you actually like.
Yes.
Seriously, whether it's news about your favorite sport, film reviews, tech blogs, fiction, whatever, if you're genuinely interested, the practice doesn't feel like work. It becomes enjoyable.
That's such a crucial point. Find your joy in it. Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. The big takeaway for me is that reading smoothly, without all those pauses, it's a skill. It's not magic. It's not something you're born with or without.
Exactly.
And like any skill, it just takes that consistent effort, that focused practice, and yeah, probably a fair bit of patience with yourself.
Patience is key.
So remember, every page you read, every sentence you manage to say aloud a bit more smoothly than yesterday, that's real progress. Aim for that progress, not some impossible standard of perfection.
Well said. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, becoming a more fluent reader. It's about more than just getting through text faster or understanding it better. It actually fundamentally changes your relationship with knowledge itself.
How so?
Well, when reading becomes more effortless, you can immerse yourself much more deeply in ideas, in stories, and information. What used to feel like a chore, like deciphering code, it transforms into this seamless gateway.
A gateway.
Yeah, a gateway to new understandings, new perspectives, deeper insights. So the question to maybe mull over is, If reading felt less like effort and more like flow, what entirely new worlds might that open up for you? Worlds to explore, to understand, and maybe even worlds where you feel more equipped to express your own ideas.